Welcome again guys to our another video. Now, here is our introduction. Yay. Now, we have first, of course, and always in every video, we have our beloved trivia. And our trivia for today is, do you know that the fingerprints of a koala are so indistinguishable from humans that they have on occasion been confused at a crime scene? So yes, that is our trivia for today. And let's get on to our agenda. Our agenda is you'll be able to know to write a narrative. Knowledge about narrative writing, of course, it's obvious. Because our topic for today is writing and composition, writing a narrative. So first and foremost, what is a narrative writing? It is one common type of writing is narration. It relates events in a logical sequence. Narration is usually used in writing biographies, autobiographies, journals, historical events, short stories, and the like. Narration helps in creating a clear picture of an incident, occasion, memorable experience, or important events in one's life. Now, narrative. What is a narrative? A narrative is characterized by the following. So these are the characteristics of a narrative. The events usually follow the chronological order. The use of concrete action words is dominant. So it's powerful. The use of concrete action is powerful. Significant details make narration comprehensible. It means that in narration, the details can be more understood and understand. Transitional devices link one event to another. These are first, second, then, next, afterwards, finally, meanwhile, suddenly, immediately, as soon as, etc., etc. Do you know that there are four types of narrative writing? And the first one is linear narrative. The second one is non-linear narrative. The third one is quest narrative. And the fourth one is viewpoint narrative. Now, let's get on to linear narrative. A narrative is a story that includes plot, characters, setting, climax, and resolution. Linear narratives present stories in a logical manner by telling what happens from one point in time to the next without using flashbacks or flash forwards and then returning to the present. We have beginning, middle, and end. Linear narratives live up to their name, meaning you could draw a straight line from the beginning of the end of a story. These narratives start the story at the beginning and tell consecutive events until the finale. In contrast, nonlinear narrative might skip around to different points in time. Most linear narratives follow a similar structure. The exposition sets the tone and the theme of the story, followed by the rising action, which leads to the story's climax, followed by the falling action and the denouement or the finale. Next, we have the nonlinear narrative. A nonlinear narrative is a narrative technique in which the storyline is told out of chronological order that can make many forms by using flash forwards, flashbacks, dream sequences, or foreshadowing. Nonlinear plotlines can mimic the recall of human memory, or weave in a fantastical elements like in time travel or clairvoyance. Nonlinear storytelling goes as far back as the 5th century, flashbacks peppering the timeline of the Indian epic. The Mahabharata, which tells of two clashing groups of cousins. Homer's Iliad is technique called Midias. Now we have the four advantages of using a nonlinear narrative. Nonlinearity as a narrative structure might be a challenge to pull off. The order in which everything is presented must still be logical, if not chronological. But when done well, it allows a more nuanced, masterful story to emerge. Number 1, we have intrigue. By disorienting the reader, a nonlinear structure creates a puzzle that requires more engagement with the individual pieces of the story. Cause and effect cease to be predictable or immediately visible, allowing the reader to curate their own logic. When a novel opens with a murder, the series of events that follow carry greater weight and add the anticipation of the final, known outcome. When the reader knows more about characters' fate than they do, opportunities also arise from moments of irony, be they tragic or comic. Second is world building. Not only you can use a nonlinear structure to incorporate different time periods into your story. Taking a momentarily different point of view can give the reader more insight into other aspects of the setting. Think subplots unfolding on the other of the world that will eventually become meaningful. Or perhaps historical events that come to bear on the lives of your characters. Number 3, depth of character. The more the reader learns of your main character's backstory, the better they understand the choices they make throughout the narrative. Instead of simply telling the reader your character is an orphan, send them back to a moment they become one. Those experiences stay with the reader as they continue through the story. Number 4, the flow. Nonlinear storytelling moves your narrative form into something closer to art. While humans might be instinctually drawn to the neatness of chronological order, they are enchanted by the complex. Interchanging the main plot with a nonlinear plot allows you to capture more of what it means to be human, and then some, giving shape to all the connections that bind a group of people together, though themselves remain blind to it. So guys, what is the importance to know linear narrative? You know that when authors use linear narratives, the order in which events are portrayed corresponds to the order in which they occur. Often, authors will only tell us about the most important events related to a story's plot or subplots, thereby strengthening our sense of how they are related to one another. So, the purpose of linear narrative is to live up to their name, meaning that you could draw a straight line from the beginning and the end of a story. This narrative starts story at the beginning and tell consecutive events until the finale. In contrast, non-linear narratives might skip around to different points in time. And what is the importance of non-linear narrative? Not only you can use a non-linear structure to incorporate different time periods into your story. Taking a momentarily different point of view can give the reader more insight into other aspects of setting. Think subplots unfolding on the other side of the world that will eventually become meaningful, or etc. Or something good. And what is the point of nonlinear plot? The nonlinear narrative has been used to highlight character growth by drawing a contrast between multiple characters. It is usually the service of a broad theme, and yeah, just like that. So the main point is to highlight the character growth by a drawing contrast between multiple characters. So that's all guys for our part 1. Thank you for listening. I hope you understand the linear and non-linear narrative story, and I hope you guys s- will meet you in the part of the video because there are the two more types of narratives in the story. So thank you guys and God bless. Bye.